Bills fans, I'm not even going to attempt to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you a white lie. I'm not going to tell you a partial lie. The truth is, this was likely the worst season y'all will have in the last 5 years.
Shut up, the Bills! It's not outside! It's not outside!
Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Homie, now listen. Everyone play their position. Buffalo got a tradition. They say we trippin'. They better get out our way. Top of the table, we flippin'. We on a mission. Got an unstoppable team. Continue to follow your dream by any means. Buffalo, get in the Super Bowl ring. Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo Bills. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, yeah. Reppin' the mafia, Bills, yeah. You better know that. Look how we throwing and catching, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. You better know that. Look how we running and hitting, cause we are unstoppable, yeah. Mafia up in your city, time to get gritty. Screaming and yelling, we bugging. Look at the red and blue.
This is an MVP year for Josh Allen. As an MVP voter, I said this last week. Josh Allen, he looks like an MVP. When you vote for MVP, and I can speak for myself, I think I'm one of 50 voters, you look at a couple things. Who's the best team in football? Who's the best player on that team in football? What do they look like as the best player on that team in football? And how much talent is around that best player on that best team in football?
Cause we the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, we the Buffalo.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Coast to Coast. It's Whittle 2K. Host, Beyond 716 will not be with us tonight. Got some other stuff going on that, he should be back next week. But today we are going to discuss the latest and greatest from our Buffalo Bills. I found myself today watching some Buffalo Bills comebacks and Josh Allen highlights, and it just let me know, man. I'm like, the season can't get here fast enough, man. So I watched the Cincinnati comeback last year. That was a huge win, I believe, for us because we had struggled to beat them. They had beaten us the last few times that we saw them. So it was nice to get a W against them. You really saw Christian Benford. I thought Christian Benford had a statement game. I hate that it was snowing though. Like I hate that the weather was bad because I feel like because the weather was bad, he's not going to get the credit he deserves for really like strapping up Jamar Chase. Like Chase was really in straps. Like Chase really didn't really get off until he got in the slot, going up against Taron Johnson. And, I think he got a catch or two against Trey White or whatever. But like Benford really strapped him up. Anyway, today we're going to bring back Jerick to talk to us about wide receivers, and we'll also get into a little bit of the just some of the happenings that took place with the Buffalo Bills this week. I'll bring Jerick up. What's going on, my brother? Welcome back.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. Just it's close. You know what I'm saying? Like the draft is a couple weeks away, so like it feels really close. And then they just had the owners' meetings, and I know that we're getting ready to, once the draft happens, it'll be a couple weeks, and then rookies report, and I think we get like an extra week or something for training camp. So, like I'm locked in, bro. I'm locked in. I feel it. It's close. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, man. And yeah, I'm ready to go. Ready to go. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm with you, man. Listen, I've been talking about this draft probably longer than pretty much anybody, besides maybe the professionals, man. So I'm already on the 27. I need some excitement. I feel like I've been talking about these prospects for a long time. It's just to a point now, man. I mean, we argue with Bills fans almost every day in terms of what this team needs and what they. At this point, to me, I don't care who they pick. I just want guys that they does it make sense, right? Does it make sense, and does it make the team better? And that's pretty much all I kind of care about. I mean, it's been a civil war in terms of offense or defensive needs. Does it just make sense, and can it get this team over the hump? Because I am tired of picking in the back end of the first round without having at least a Super Bowl appearance to our name, because it is literally killing us. It's killing us right now in this draft. The fact that we don't have a second round pick, we have to wait 60 picks before we have to pick again. So it's it is what it is, man. Just doesn't make sense, and I'll be satisfied with that.
It's tearing at the seams right now.
Yeah.
You can I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like the fan base understands how close we are, but not like unlike the 90s. For the 90s, it was new. Like, oh my God, we're in the Super Bowl, and they were actually getting to the Super Bowl. So they were good and they were actually getting there, but we're close. And I feel like we've looked at the last couple of Super Bowl games, and I personally have felt like we could have beat them. I feel like we could have beat the Seahawks. It felt like we could have at least given the Eagles a much better game than the Chiefs did.
They would have beat the 49ers, and I'm confident of saying that. They would have won that game.
49, right, exactly. And it's just like we're so close. And honestly, I don't know that there's a team in the NFC that I would look at and say, I don't know about this. Except, I mean, the Rams look tough. The Rams look tough. And, we'll get into that, as we get a little close to the season. But, yeah, man, I mean, I just feel like the fan base is about to implode on itself between fix the defense, get more wide receivers. Josh isn't getting any younger. I'm glad McDermott's gone, but let's get Bean out of here. Versus let's see what happens. We're really good. I like where we're going. Let's get receivers to just put up 50 a game. It's just so many different factions. I don't know how you feel, but that's where I'm at.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you know how I feel in terms of how we can get this thing done. I mean, we have literally seen this for the past decade of defenses ultimately being the defining reason why teams have won Super Bowls. I mean, it's like, and again, this is going to be a controversial take when I say we can't get this thing within 3 to 4 years. Listen, I know we got a no trade clause with Josh Allen, but if that trade clause was possible, I'm sorry. In 4 years, we can't get this thing done. I got to get rid of it. And I'm trying to get as many first round picks as possible. At the end of the day, I need to build a better team I need to build a better team. I'm sorry. And, I would try to see if we can, Brandon Beane is obviously going to be on a short leash. The fan base is going to be very, very impatient with him. And so, I mean, it's only, you're only going to run out of excuses because we're going to blame Brandon Beane. We'll blame Joe Brady. When is it going to be time for us to fully blame Josh Allen? Like, what? I'm sorry. Like, I've been hard on Josh Allen this offseason, probably more than most, because I expect better from my quarterback. I expect my quarterback not to turn over the football to a couple times, a couple of bonehead decisions. I'm sorry. Those are points that definitely cost us. We knew what this defense was going to be crap. We knew that this defense was not going to be that good going to the postseason. We knew that if the offense can take care of the football and win the turnover battle, that they were going to win. Because I felt like the Jaguars was a much harder challenge than the Broncos, and we are coming short in football games where we are just making the slightest mistakes on offense, and then defensive wise, we already know what's going on there. We gave up a lot of points. So my thing is to patch this defense up, make it more aggressive, which I think we have done. But ultimately, you need the right players. We need depth. The Seahawks had depth. The Eagles had depth. You know, I mean, look at the past teams. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have a great defense in 19, but you know what they did have? They have depth. They rotated their edges. They had three guys that they just rotated edge and defensive tackle. So it's just one of those situations to me where it's like we got to figure out a way. How do we get better as an overall roster? How do we get the depth that some of these teams have done? And listen, I don't care how we get this thing done. I mean, you know, whether if it's with Josh or if it's not with Josh, whether if it was with Brandon Beane or if it's not with Brandon Beane, I'm trying to get this thing done. Because at some point this thing is going to collapse and we're going to go back to poverty. Like the fact that we've done the things that we've done so far, it's extremely rare in the NFL to do. It's just not going to last forever. So we got to figure out a way how to take advantage of this opportunity. And it's just to a point where I'm starting to be desperate as a fan, where a lot of Bills fans are going to criticize Brandon Beane for saying get my quarterback or receiver. Well, you know, in 2 to 3 seasons, I'm going to be the fan that's going to say let's see if we can get as many asses as possible before this thing ultimately collapses.
Wow, man. I don't even want to talk about the potential to trade Josh Allen, but you're right. You're right. I mean, it is what it is, man. And if you can't get it done by the time this guy's like 33, 34, that's not even 6 years. That's like 3 years. So like 4 years. Once he's about to be 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once he is 32, it's time to start looking in a different direction.
Yep.
And I hate to say that, but at 32, he still has a ton of value, and we really could reset the roster. You're still gonna have a prime James Cook. You're still gonna have a young Shakir. You're still gonna, whatever receiver moves they make now. Rousseau will still be young. Harrison will be young. Benford, I think, is like what 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll still be, 29, 30. So probably at the end of his prime, but a lot of the guys that we're building around right now will still be young, and we really could reset the quarterback clock by loading up on picks and going to get somebody else. Not that I'm advocating for trading Josh. I don't want to trade Josh. I want to win with Josh,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point you got to make the best decision for the franchise, and that sometimes that means making tough decisions and getting and turning the page. We got Dog, Tom. What's up, guys, man? Welcome in. Yeah. All right. So let's get into some Bills news. Austin Corbett, Damar Hamlin, Trent Sherfield, and Lloyd Cushenberry were all signed this week. Between last Wednesday and this Wednesday. All those guys were brought in and signed. We've been talking to Corbett for a few days, for a little while now, and we managed to get a 1-year deal done with him. Damar Hamlin comes back. I know a lot of Bills fans are not happy about that. I personally don't mind it, because when we talk about depth, we talk about a guy like Damar Hamlin being the guy that comes off the bench. But in this scenario, he's not even the guy that comes off the bench. He's the guy that comes off the bench for the guy that's on the bench. So when you're 4th or 5th or 6th safety, if your practice squad safety is Damar Hamlin, I think you're in good shape. I don't mind him in that role. If he does have to play, he has experience playing special teams. I feel like his reps got better towards the end of the year. When they put him on the field, he didn't get embarrassed. Not like Darnell Savage did. So I'm not. I don't hate the move. Like, the move is fine. But obviously it doesn't move the needle. But what it does do, in my opinion, with the addition of Corbett and Cushenberry, is we're replacing guys on the interior. We're replenishing that area. We lost clearly we lost David Edwards to free agency. Um, so it's going to be a new left guard, whether that's Alec Anderson, who's been on the team since we brought him into the UDFA, or it's Austin Corbett. It could be, either one of those guys, or maybe it's Tylen Grape. I don't know, but we're gonna have competition, and the guys Corbett and Alec Anderson. These are maulers. These are guys that are they're physical. They will muck the game up. You know, they're those type of guys versus the technician that Edwards was. We'll see how it works out. Trent Sherfield was brought back. That to me is purely a special team. I think that if he's back to, if he makes the roster, it's because he's a really good gunner and he can give you some production as your 6th wide receiver. Um, but I don't think that that's a guarantee that he makes the team. Again, if you bring a guy like that in and he is the 6th or 7th guy at his position group, that's good. That's fine. I'm good with that. Um, but playoffs, second round, can't have that guy on the field consistently like we did a few years ago. What are your thoughts on the free agency move, brother?
I mean, I like the offensive line additions. I think Lloyd and Corbett, they both have starting experience. Lloyd, I've been watching him since the LSU days. Violent, physical guy. Didn't really have that much success that that we thought he could, even though he was, again, I think it was like a 4th round pick. But has been solid within some of his starts, have kind of slowed down a little bit. So, I think those are depth pieces. Those are guys, those are guys that, I'm not going to be saying that they're going to be fighting for the starting position, maybe Corbett, but those are definitely more of those depth positions. I mean, they're 1-year contracts, so they can get cut. It is what it is. There's no blowback on us, but it is interesting that the fact that we picked up a backup center because of Cedric Van Pran, and then you just signed Connor McGovern. So, what's the plan with Cedric Van Pran? Brandon Bean clearly likes Cedric Van Pran. He loves that dude. I think he's going to try to move him inside the guard. Again, could it be a possibility that McGovern moves inside the guard, right? That's a possibility of that happening. Then Van Pran takes over the duties at center. Whatever the case and situation is, I do think that they're gonna see if they can find a starting spot for Cedric Van Pran, right? Obviously, they're not going to give him the job, but they're going to make him compete and give him a fair opportunity for him to try to win the job. So that's, I think, what the addition of Corbett is. He's more insurance. Than any, Corbin and Cushenberry, they're more kind of insurance guys. They're going to be competing as well. But ultimately at the end of the day, I still don't think it's going to deter them for drafting interior offensive linemen if the opportunity occurs. I don't think that's going to deter them. But it is interesting that they're trying to find a little bit more depth for these particular spots, right? Because McGovern can play multiple different positions. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens there. But no, I mean, overall wise, I understand those picks. I understand it. DeMar Hamlin coming back. I mean, I think it's his special teams value. He does add some experience, even though, again, he's not a typical Jim Leonard safety. But he does hold, he is a solid special teams player. Then Sherfield, I see punt return duties running all over him. So I think that's definitely added special teams depth for sure. Yeah, I think return duty.
Return and not coverage, but return.
But return, yep, punt return.
Wow. Okay. All right. I know that Joe Brady. I know that that it was said this week. I believe Brady said we got to get Shakir off of punt return duties.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Did you saw the Brady interview, right?
I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't watch the full thing.
Yeah, I watched a good amount of it as well. It was like 45 minutes. I don't care enough to hear him talk that much right now, to be honest. But I did listen to some of the things that he talked about as far as learning while in this process of being a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Like, I think that's a lot of coach speak, but I've always appreciated how humble and confident he has been in every step like from quarterbacks coach to OC to now head coach. So I do appreciate that. It's a blend to me of the humble, always work and keep your head down mentality that we have with McDermott. But then there's a little bit of the brash, you know, I you gotta play us. Like y'all are playing us. Like that edge that you got from Dayball. I'm hoping that this is a good mix with Brady where we get a little bit of both. Um, but what was the other thing? Oh, so one thing that stood out to me was when he was talking about roster building and the type of guys to build the right locker room. He was saying, accountability, team first guys, tough. I noticed that he never mentioned high character. I noticed that he never mentioned guys that play the game the right way. I think that the uproar from Bills Mafia about we want a tougher team, we want a team that kind of what's the phrase I'm looking for? Sets the tone. A team that forces the issue, dictates to the other team how the game is going to go. I think Bills fans have been clamoring for that, and I think the front office is listening. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, Joe Brady. I mean, yeah, Joe Brady got a lot of criticism over the past, ever since he got hired, because for some reason Bills fans thought that he was just going to be running the same offense, in terms of running nothing but screens. Even though he, you go back to his Carolina days and even LSU days, he didn't. I mean, he didn't run as many screens as compared to what he did to now. I think we all know that McDermott played a huge hand in terms of how this offensive scheme was kind of built around. But no, I think listen, Brady. There's a reason why. He's got a John Fox. There's a reason why he's got some of these older coaches around him, because he understands at the end of the day that he can't, he can't be what Aaron Glenn was for the Jets. Aaron Glenn was, again, he's cocky, borderline damn near arrogant, to a point where he had to kind of, he even talked about in his press conference that he had to learn. Like, he got humbled and he had to kind of go back and make those mistakes. That's something that I think Bills fans are kind of scared of with Joe Brady, is the fact that you have, which is kind of crazy to me, because this is the same fan base that wants Udinsky and wants all these first-year offensive coordinators. But it is what it is with that. But it's again, when you're a first-year head coach, to see Joe Brady just kind of embracing the fact that he is new to this and he needs to kind of surround himself with mature people within the room, like-minded people that has different opinions. And then ultimately, I think at the end of the day, I don't think this wasn't said, but I think we know that Brandon Beane is going to play a much larger role into this entire process than what he was accustomed to doing, probably ever since McDermott probably got there. So, it's not hand holding for Joe Brady, but at the same time, it's just guiding him through this process, getting him more comfortable, and then ultimately, I think we'll see what he does once he actually matures in terms of being a coach. But no, I mean, listen, he said, and he's done the right thing so far. And I think a lot of the moves that we've done has made sense. And so, yeah, I mean, Bills fans that are screaming that if we can't get this thing done, that Joe Brady needs to be fired, that's not happening. They're not firing Joe Brady after this 1 year. I think he is going to be the guy. I think ultimately he's going to get at least 3 years to ultimately see if we can progress and overall turn he doesn't even have to win a championship. I know Bills fans may have won it, but he doesn't have to win a championship. Can he turn the confidence of this organization around? Because what Terry Pagula saw in that Broncos game was like that this team was broken and he needed to make a change. Can Joe Brady lift the spirits up, and can he ultimately shift the energy to something new that could give us hope that a championship can be brought here for the next 3 to 4 years? I think that's ultimately the most important part. And I think so far he is giving confidence, and he is giving an allure, a brand new sense of energy within the organization. The players have talked about it. Some of the media that's been covering the Buffalo Bills, they have talked about how it just feels completely different. And hey, listen, Joe Brady, he's got a certain swagger about him that is more, that the players could absolutely relate to. And so it's a different time, it's a different story, and I can't wait to see it.
All right. I don't really have any pushback to what you're saying, man. I mean, like, I'm I'm right there with you. I do want to get into these wide receivers. And you gave
Oh, yeah.
now we talked about a few of these guys ahead of time. Um, and the list you gave me was Antonio Williams, Deshaun Dribbling. I'm saying that right?
Yep, from Ole Miss. Yep.
Yep, Deshaun Stribling, Skylar Bell, and Casey Concepcion. We had talked about Lewis Bond earlier in this process as well. Some Omar Cooper, Brazil, obviously, Malik Benson, and we talked a lot about a bunch of different guys. I had mentioned J. Michael Sturdivant. So the criteria I gave you was guys that you think could fit Buffalo that the Bills would actually have an opportunity, should have a really good chance at drafting. And before I'm gonna get into that, but just quickly shout out Michael Chris, Michael Chris, Michael Seacrest, Michael Seacrest. What's going on, man? Dog, appreciate you always pulling up, man. You my dog, brother. Jerick, this is Michael Wheeler saying what's up to you.
What's going
And
on?
Tom, my guy Tom from West Virginia. What's up, Tom? Yes, Jordan Tyson. And dog, we on the same page with this. I think Keon has a good year. And by good year, I'm saying 40 to 50 receptions, over 600 yards, probably 6 to 8 touchdowns, somewhere around there. I think that's a good year for him. I think that'll earn him more snaps. I think that'll earn him more looks. But we'll see. We'll see. What else we got? All right, so let's get into it. The only guy I like, obviously I like, obviously Casey Concepcion. I think Casey Concepcion I think he's the best out of this. But I don't think he's the best for Buffalo. Out of the group that we had that we talked about. And here's why I say that. I think he's much better in the slot. I think he's more dangerous in the slot, especially at this level, the NFL level. I think he can function on the boundary, especially because we're gonna run the football. We're still gonna do that. We're still gonna utilize the tight ends. We're still going to obviously give DJ Moore and Shakir a ton of snaps. So early on, Casey Concepcion would see single coverage. He's going to see a good amount of single coverage, which will allow him on the outside going up against CB2s or maybe even CB3s the opportunity to show what he can do. I think that's going to work for him in year one. I'm thinking year two or year three, it doesn't work as well. He's a little undersized, about 170, 175, 177, something like that. I think he's about 5'11". Now he has shown the ability to win on the boundary. He has shown the ability to win on the boundary. He has a complete route tree. Nobody is doubting that. I just don't know long term if he turns out to be a wide receiver. And if you're taking him in the first round, you really kind of want him to be a wide receiver. That's what I think, or at least have an elite skill set that whether it's like he's running a 4.3, he's 6'4", his route running is so crazy that you can't pass it up, like just all of those things. The drops worry me. The size at the catch point worries me, especially in the NFL, especially with really athletic corners that are probably going to play a ton of zone against us. So they're going to keep him in front of them. And when he goes to get the football, they are going to be very physical with him at the catch. He drops the ball a lot. That worries me. I do like him. And if he's available at 26 or around 26 and they get him, I understand. But the guy that I am for, I can't get past this Antonio Williams kid, man. I can't get past him. I think he's perfect for Buffalo. I think he's exactly what you need. You need a guy that can win on the boundary. You need a route runner. You need a guy who is excellent. And I took some notes. This is what I have. You tell me if you agree, Jerick. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio Williams, natural separator, excellent route runner, very good ball tracking ability.
Yep.
Alignment, flexible. Meaning you can put him in the slot, you can put him in the boundary, you can put him as the X, you can put him as the Y. It doesn't matter. Like you can run him as your gadget from the backfield and throw him the ball in the flat. Like there's nothing this guy can't do. I'm gonna throw the comp out. And I don't care if you guys. I don't care if you guys say I'm crazy. I don't care if people talk about me on Twitter about this. Stephon Diggs. I see it. I see Diggs, bro. I see Diggs. I was so impressed. I watched him against Georgia. Watched the all 22 of him against Georgia. Very, very impressed. Going up against future NFL corner Dalen Everett. I thought he was very good. I think Clay Kupnik sucks, but I think Williams is excellent. Talk to me, man. Talk to me. Where are we at? Out of the list, who's your guy?
I mean, listen, I mean, Antonio Williams that's one of my guys. In terms of the fit for the Bills. Now, my overall guy is Brendan Thompson. That's my overall guy. I've said this hot take before. I think he's the best receiver in this entire draft class. I do. I think he is the best. I think in terms of his shoulder squared, in terms of the best, in terms of vertical stemming, explosiveness, speed, twitchiness, separation, playing primarily on the outside against bigger, taller corners. He was one of the best receivers I've seen. But do I think he's the best overall fit for Buffalo? Probably not, because I don't think his game is going to translate that well in the slot. I actually think he's more in the slot, and so again, he's more of an outside Z. I don't even really think he's a Z. I actually think he's an X. He's just an undersized X. And I don't know if Bills fans would feel comfortable with that. And I don't know if Joe Brady and them would feel comfortable about it. So listen, I like, obviously Casey. The reason why I like Casey is because Casey, believe it or not, his biggest strength is arguably the catch point. He was one of the best contested catchers in college football last year. Ironically enough, though, this is the biggest issue with them. It is his hands, because the concentration, the drops was just ridiculous. He has a 13% career drop rate for NC State all the way to A&M. Now at A&M, at NC State, he was primarily a slot. At A&M, they decided to move him out as more as a Z flanker. They did mix him, and he had like 30 to 35% snaps at the in the slot position. But listen, in terms of, you said earlier, he's got the complete route tree, right? He runs pretty much almost every route you can pretty much ask him to. He has a very, very nice release, sudden release package. He does a really good job in terms of vertical stemming. However, and this is one of my biggest issues with Casey Concepcion, he's good against zone. Like he understands zone. He understands zone spacing, and he knows when to sit, but he's not particularly great against zone coverage whenever guys put their hands on him. Antonio Williams is good at everything, is every single one of them. He's a lot stronger than what you kind of give him credit for. You can try to knock him off his route. He still finds ways to get leverage whenever he's going against zone spacing, and he understands when to split. They also use him a ton on option routes. which is basically, again, against zone. They just, it was just between him and the quarterback. They, basically what he saw, he would just kind of play off of it, and he would kind of fake stem, get to his particular spot, and he was just comfortable. Nobody can guard him when it comes to that particular aspect. So you want receivers overall wise for Josh Allen that has spatial awareness. We haven't had that since Cole Beasley. Khalil Shakir could be that type of receiver, but I think Khalil Shakir is a 3-level slot guy. I don't think he's just a pure, like a pure space-eating slot like a Cole Beasley was, where Cole Beasley can chew you up for to 5 to 10 to 5 to 10, for those 3 to 5 yards, because that's honestly more dangerous. That opens up the deep, the intermediate, and even the deep levels part of the field, because you have to adjust your coverage based off of what Cole Beasley did, and you had to bring safeties down a little bit, which opened up John Brown. It opened up those deep daggers, those deep crossers that we would normally run with John Brown and Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, it was heaven to watch. We don't have that guy. And we've tried it with Dalton Kincaid. I think Dalton Kincaid is more of a deeper intermediate guy, even though he is pretty solid with zone spacing. He's just, for some reason, Dalton Kincaid, when you can just knock him off his route easily. So I don't think he has that strength, that underlying strength. But Williams is smart, high IQ player, phenomenal footwork. Again, this year they played him a lot more in the slot more than usual. If you go back to look at his 24 tape, he practically played everywhere, X, Z, and Y, and they just rotated because there's 2 other receivers and Clemson receivers in Wisco, and there's another one there that they just rotated all over the place. This year it wasn't more so that. Now, I think they're both similar in size, right? They're both I think they're both 175, 180 pounds. They're both around 5'11". So there's going to be some areas of concern in terms of their height and their weight. But for me, I want, who makes Josh Allen's job a lot easier? And the one thing that I think Bills fans obsess with, and I mean obsessed with, they want a deep vertical receiver, which I get. I can understand, because you look at John Brown, you look at Emmanuel Sanders, right? I would even throw in Gabe Davis, who I don't even think is a natural vertical threat, but I'll throw in Gabe Davis in there, right? And we take a look at those highlight reels of Josh Allen stretching the field, those big plays ability, right? You want to take full advantage of Josh Allen's arm, right, with his arm slots, because Josh Allen he's more high over the top, but he can also sidearm it. He has that 3-quarter release. He has so many damn different arm angles that you simply just want to utilize that to their full capability. But the one thing that Josh Allen has been extremely spectacular at is his short to intermediate ability. That's his number one strength. And we need to get a receiver that simply dominates in that particular aspect. That's why, for me, Bills fans want Casey Concepcion. I don't mind Casey Concepcion, because Casey Concepcion is a very, very good route runner. He's a 3-level slot guy, and he has a pretty good understanding of zone spacing. I understand that completely. However, do I think he's a true slot? I don't know if he's a true slot at the NFL level. I don't even know, to be honest with you, I don't even know if he's a true Z flanker at the next level. We talk more about his gadget ability. We talk more about his return ability, which, to me, I don't give a damn if he can return punts or not, because I know damn well that if Casey Concepcion returns a punt in the playoffs and gets hurt, Bills fans are going to crash out on the coach, because they're going to ask, why do we have one of our most important catchers of the football returning punts and he gets hurt? And we know how this fan base is going to work. So I don't care if he can return punts. I care about what does he offer to my quarterback. And the fact of the matter is that in terms of what Josh Allen has missed since Cole Beasley, we need a Cole Beasley replacement. We have not found that replacement. And so, to me, I would rather get an Antonio Williams in the 3rd round, right? That's perfect value, compared to forcing myself to 26 of getting a receiver like Casey Concepcion, who, in my opinion, is a borderline second-round talent, I'm not with 60 picks, I don't think that Casey Concepcion would be the best option for Josh. If they pick him, I have no problem with it, because I understand what he brings to the table. But again, we talked about this with Christian Miller. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. And do you really want that for Josh when we just went through that with Keon Coleman? Or do you want something that is elite at a particular area? He may have weaknesses in other spots, but the one thing that he does well fits the attribute of your quarterback, and he does that at an elite level. I prefer that for Josh than a jack of all trades player.
So I'm looking at the NFL website. It's got Antonio Williams at 5'11 and a half, 30 and 3/4 inch arms,
which is
arm length.
humongous. That's a humongous wingspan.
Yeah. 9 1/4 hand size, 187.
187. Okay.
Then I go, yep. And then I go and I look at Casey Concepcion, and I'm getting they're saying 6 feet, 30 1/4 arm length. Same hand size, 9 1/4, 196. What? When has Casey Concepcion been 196?
He added that weight on. He put that weight on for sure.
He must have put that on for the combine, bro. Had to. Yeah, they got him. His RAS showing up as 196. That's kind of crazy to me. They have him at 5'11 and a half, as far as the RAS is concerned. So the NFL might be a little off, but very, very similar in like you said, very similar in size. So what we do, bro, is what separates these guys. You got to go to the tape, and we're gonna do that. I don't want to shortchange the other two receivers that we discussed before, Skylar Bell and Deshaun Stribling. So these are my notes for Stribling. Below average ball tracker. He is a hands catcher.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big target and not the greatest as far as separating, but can separate. Like he's a vertical separator. And he only lines up on the left side of the quarterback. Like, did you notice that, or am I bugging?
No, that's important because that's very, very important because a lot of these receivers they don't like a lot of people think that these receivers could just line up on the left side on either side. No, he lines up strictly on the left side, and you'll be shocked about in terms of like Denzel Boston. Where does he line up primarily?
Left side. On
the left side of the field. Like that's very, very important. And I got to take a look at it because I think Kevin put up a stat, but Josh Allen throws more to the left side than more to the right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Davis lines up primarily on the right. And when Davis was here, so was Diggs. So Diggs was always mostly to the left most of the time. So, I mean, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense that he got more comfortable throwing to the left side because that's primarily where Diggs was. But yeah, I watched Stribling against Oklahoma State, and just doesn't really jump off. It just didn't jump off the screen to me, bro. Like I mean, there were flashes here and there, but while watching him, I felt like I can get the same from what's our boy Shavers. I feel like I can get similar. I can get similar from Shavers. I don't need to use a draft pick for this guy because I just get Shavers back healthy. And it's the same thing. A tall kid who's good with his hands can run down. Who's got solid hands, can run down the field. The thing is, I think Shavers is better at tracking the football down the field than Stribling is. I mean, Stribling may get better at it. He may develop into a better receiver, but it just didn't jump off the tape to me. What do you think? While you do that, I'm gonna pull up his film.
So I watch a little bit of Stripling. Listen, these are his weaknesses for sure. I wrote down he doesn't have elite explosiveness, right? That 4.5 kind of showed up, right? They didn't even think he had a great 10-yard split, lack of elite explosiveness, burst, or just kind of separation quickness. That's not his game. press coverage, press coverage more against physical corners. He struggled a little bit. I was able to kind of see that. So once you get into the NFL and you start to play more of those bigger, more physical, corners, that's definitely going to be more of a question mark. He's got some durability concerns a little bit. And it's kind of like he doesn't have an elite trait about him, right? He's more jack of all trades as well, in terms of his profile. I do think he is a little bit more well-rounded. I think he's going to go on day 3. But I think the thing that stands out for me about Dejon Stripling, again, he's not the best ball tracker. He can separate. He's a way better separator than he is a separator in terms of the vertical threat of the field. But what he does do really well, it is his short and immediate ability, and it's because of the type of offense he plays in, which is he plays in a timing rhythm-based scheme where Stripling has mastered the first. It's not initial quickness, but it's more. It's hard to explain. He's smart. You can tell the dude understands film. He's a film junkie. Understanding cornerback leverage, understanding and reading their hips and knowing exactly when to break out. Again, they run a lot of option routes as well. And so I like in terms of a receiver, I liked his timing in terms of what he could bring to the table. Strong yards after the catch. Yard after the catch, contact balance. He gets the ball in his hands. The dude's going to break tackles. You're not going to arm tackle this kid. He's 210 pounds, big, strong, physical sort of guy. So I did kind of really like that about him. What else did I kind of get something about him as well? Believe it or not, he has a high catch rate. So in terms of catch radius and in terms of hands, doesn't drop the football as much. That to me, I thought was really nice. I thought his route tree wise, even though I don't think he does anything spectacular wise for the most part, I think, I did see crisp breaks. I did see the body control to kind of maintain balance. So it's, so again, once you did got hands on him and he was like 2, 3, 4 yards down the field, it's hard to knock him off of his route. So even though he kind of struggles with jamming initially, once he does get going, it's hard to kind of break him off of his route. That's the contact balance that he presents to the table. And then he can sell, bro. He can sell routes. That's the thing I really like most about him. He can sell like crazy, especially when it comes to the vertical routes, in terms of how he was able to get the snap ratio before snapping off, before kind of snapping off those short routes as well. So I really, really did like that. So I think he's an underrated route runner, right? I don't think he's elite at anything he does, but he is underrated. Like, the game that really impressed me was when he went up against Dalen Everett. Dalen Everett again. I'm not trying to be a bully because it seems like we keep bringing up Dalen Everett all the time, but he got bullied in that game. I mean, it is what it is. He got manhandled in that game, and I thought Dejon Stripling just did a really good. Again, he wasn't going to beat him over the top with speed, but he just beat him with crisp route running right off the snap. Sold his routes extremely well. So, so again, like Dejon Stripling, he's got experience. He's played in a tough conference. He's done exactly the things that you needed to do. I think he is a 3-level player. He's just not an elite 3-level player. And so can I see him potentially going, depending on the organization and how you can kind of utilize him? Because again, I don't think he's a Y. I don't think you're going to utilize him as a slot. I think he is a true X. I think he is a true X receiver. Do I think he's going to be a dominant X guy? No. But the reason why I like him so much for Buffalo, if the Bills were able to take him, is just simply because he's a high IQ football player. And the one thing that the Buffalo Bills struggled with last year was with high IQ football players at the receiving position. Because the last thing I'll talk about with Dejon Stripling is he is incredible when it comes to breaking off of his route and going to where the quarterback is utilizing his off-platform ability. We have not had that at all when it comes to, we struggled with that last year. And so you want those type of receivers that just understands my quarterback is flustered. Even if I went off of my initial break, I need to do something. I need to do something else in order for my quarterback to potentially throw the football to me. So he knows how to get open, right? Improv, off platform, whatever you require the quarterback to do his thing. He knows exactly how to get open in those situations. So again, he is the prototypical big body guy. People won't be impressed with him because of his 10-yard split in the 40-yard dash. He's not an elite. He doesn't do anything elite-wise, but he's just simply a smart football player that is big, that's strong, that's physical. That is physical, especially at the attack at the attack point. And I think he would be a solid addition if they were to grab him in, let's just say, the fifth round.
Yeah, you thought in the first. I was playing the film while you were talking. The initial, first throw, the first reception. You see the length, you see his ability to snap off,
Yep.
selling that deep route, and coming right, making himself available immediately, and then I don't like this here. Like he just got like suplex um, on a run block, but yeah, like he snaps off and the throw's a little off. Well, not a little off; it's way off, and he just you know extends and makes the catch. Um, yeah, Arkansas's quarterback's terrible. Whoever this guy is, I don't think this guy. He was pretty much off this entire game. But yeah, like you see everything that you're saying, but this is the thing. Like he continues to line up on the left side now, and yeah, I just I don't know, bro. I mean, I wasn't impressed watching this. Watching him against Oklahoma State, but what I will do is I will go take a look at him against Georgia, and I don't think we're dumping on Everett. I think he's the standard, bro. Like we knew this guy was gonna be an NFL corner, and I think he's gonna be a starter at the NFL level. I don't know. I'm not saying that he's gonna be Christian Benford or anybody like that. Here we go, ball track. That ball hits your hands like that, you got to make that reception, and he did. Um, but yeah, about Everett, man, I just think Everett is going to be a good player, but was a good play by the defense, but still.
Yeah. Stripling's a chain mover. He's not the vertical threat. He is simply a chain mover. That's what he did at Oklahoma. That's what he did a little bit with Oklahoma State. He got to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. He definitely maintained that. Because I did think the one thing he got better with Ole Miss was that he did get better at press coverage, and so a lot more teams were playing off ball with him. So that, but again, you can tell the kid studies tape because effectively I think he was top 5 in the nation in terms of first downs for receiver. He's a chain mover. That's what his game is.
Yeah. We got to it already. All right. Well, let's move on. Next up, we'll go with Skylar Bell. Again, I'm gonna be honest, brother. Skylar Bell seems like a slot only to me.
Yep.
That's what I got. I got slot only. Can play on boundary, but will struggle on the boundary. Looks smaller than he plays smaller than he actually is. Like as far as like size is concerned, he's around the same size as KC and
Antonio
Williams. He just doesn't play like it. Like I don't know if you got that from his film either. Like he plays like he plays like he's Cole Beasley size, like 5'8", whatever. He he plays like he's the same size as Louis Bond. And I think Louis Bond actually plays bigger than he actually is. I think Louis Bond, like if we're looking for a straight Cole Beasley replacement, that's him all day. Like I like Louis Bond a lot. So, but I'm not gonna go off on a tangent with my Louis Bond hype. I think that kid is extremely tough. But let me get Skylar Bell.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Skylar Bell, it's interesting. And I think, again, the criticism that he's going to have, and I think it should be the fact that they used him a lot on a lot of different option plays. They used him a lot on screen passes, a lot of gadget plays. And I mean, a lot of gadget plays for Joe Fagano, right? If we're going to clown Zachariah Branch for that, trust me, Georgia do that a lot with them. We need to do the exact same thing with Skylar Bell. Now, again, I do think that he was a better 3-level player than Zachariah was. Again, Skylar Bell after the catch, nasty. Might be the nastiest player in terms of this entire draft in terms of yards after contact, maybe besides Jeremiah Love. You can use him on jet motion. You can use him You can use him they utilize him in wildcat formations. They utilize him at more as a Z flanker. Didn't play that much as an X, but he can definitely play that. He didn't have that much of an issue when he played it. But, again, one of the biggest questions for him is going to be, what is the route tree in the NFL, right? We know he can run quick outs. We know he can run drags. We know how they utilize him in different mesh concepts. But what about the deep outs? What about your vertical stem ability, especially when you're running those deeper routes? Can you get open? And primarily if we move you out as a boundary receiver, I think he's capable of doing it. But this is my problem with this entire drive class, is that a lot of these receivers seem they're capable of doing it, but they didn't show it. Like everyone loves Amari Cooper, right? The same criticisms we're giving Casey Concepcion and Skylar Bell, we need to do the exact same thing with Cooper. Because I think Cooper, again, he was phenomenal in the slot for Indiana. But when he played primarily as an out, again, as not as a Z flanker, but just as a true field side receiver, they just utilized him as a deep threat. And even then, because it's an RPO based system, it's not like he was contested right? A lot of his stuff was just on free releases. So I don't even know what Cooper is, because he may be capable of being a 3-level player, and he's got the athletic ability for sure. There's no question about his yards after contact. But what is he as a route runner? I don't know what he is, because he didn't show it in the 2 years I've seen him play in Indiana. I just know that he's versatile, that he can play as an outsider, as a slot. But again, is he going to do anything elite for Josh? And this is the problem, right? Again, if there is a clear definitive level between a Jordan Tyson, who I'm not even in that love with. I like Jordan Tyson a lot, but there's a clear definitive level difference between Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Mekhi Lemon. And I'm borderline with Mekhi Lemon, and then everybody else. Like, it's just like, again, Bills fans want receiver, and they want receiver badly. But it's like, I look at a play like Skylar Bell, who is going to be more of a day 2 guy, but it's just, Skylar Bell, what he does well, and I will give him this. I will give him this. He doesn't drop the football. You throw in his vicinity, he's going to catch it. He's great after the catch. He's a phenomenal intermediate route runner. When they did let him become an intermediate route runner, he can do it. I have all the confidence in the world. Yep. I have all the confidence in the world that he can run those particular routes. But again, it's just one of those situations where I don't know if it's UConn's offense or if it's just the player himself, but they didn't let him become a definitive all 3-level route runner. We say the same exact thing on scouting reports. He's capable. Well, I don't want just capable, right? Is he? I need some. Can he do it now? And I think that's the difference. Like with Brandon Thompson, I know Brandon Thompson is an elite vertical receiver. I know he is because he did it against. I've seen him do it against Malik Muhammad, Dalen Everett, Devin Moore, Damani Jackson. I've seen him do it against the best corners for 2 years. I know what Carnell Tate. I know what Carnell Tate is. I don't think Carnell Tate's is a definitive number 1 receiver. I think he's a number 2, but I think he could be a solid to not dominant number 2 receiver. Besides that, I don't know what these receivers are. I don't know what these receivers are. And so all the athletic ability in the world, hell, that includes Chris Bell. Because I think Chris Bell, all the athletic ability in the world, but guess what? Chris Bell, the majority of his routes that he was open, they freed him open. Where was the separation that he won? Because a lot of the times, the same complaints we give with Keon Coleman, we should be doing the exact same. We should be giving the exact same energy with Chris Bell. He won a lot off of mesh routes, of mesh concepts. He got freed open a lot. So it's just, it's one of those situations where Skylar Bell, he's got spatial awareness. Again, really good intermediate route runner, but it's capability, and it's going to be utilized with a lot of these guys. It's capable, and that's my problem.
We don't need capable. We need somebody that's going to come in and contribute immediately. One of the issues that I have with Skylar Bell is like his release on the boundaries the same. Like it's the hezzy fake inside release to the outside, and he does it. It feels like I'm watching this game against Boston College. I watched the Boston College tape and the Syracuse tape, and it's the same thing. It's the same release over and over and over. NFL corners are going to watch that. They're going to understand what you're doing, and they're going to shut that down. Also didn't like how on some of his routes against zone coverage, I just didn't see enough. And this might be, is this it here? No. It's just like he just didn't. There were opportunities to get more depth in his route because the guy who was responsible for him was underneath, and instead of adding 4 or 5 more yards, going 4 or 5 more yards up the field to give his quarterback a bigger window, he's kind of just sitting on his path and not just not making things a little easier. So I mean, those are my only complaints. I mean, listen, in the 1-on-ones, Skylar Bell looked great. He performed well at the combine, and he looked good at his pro day. Cool, like all those things are great. Um, I'm just watching the film, man. And then listen, they do line him up all over the place. Like he's going into the slot now, and what is that? Like I'm watching him, and what are we selling here? Like if I go back, like what are we selling? Are we selling the out or what? Because if you're selling the out, that's a terrible job. If you if you're selling it to go deep, especially if you're selling it to go deep, it just felt a little half-assed. Um, yeah, don't get me wrong. If they draft him, I'll be happy because I do think he's a really good slot receiver. I think he's a really good slot receiver. Um, but that just means to me that we're continuing the same trend of overcrowding the same skill set. We have,
Yep.
in my opinion, nothing but slots. Like DJ Moore is a boundary, but I mean everybody else is like really good in the slot, or better suited for the slot. So what are we doing? Like
Yep.
right here. I mean, come on, like I don't know. I mean, it's just certain things about Skylar Bell. Like just I don't know. I'm probably nitpicking, but so right here, right? If he turns upfield and gets more depth and tries to get into this end zone, he's pulling that defender, and that gives his quarterback all of this room to really run and and get to the end zone versus taking a hit. Yes, they score, but could it have been better? Absolutely.
He's not a great blocker. Like that's not the
Not at
forte.
all.
No, this is not his
at all.
forte. It's I mean, he's got issues. I mean, to me, I think another thing too is just it's route running it's tempo, route running consistency and his tempo. Like again, his routes, it can be mechanical, or just rounded at times, but he doesn't always play at full speed. And you showed that clip where he's not willing. He does not play at full speed all the time. Especially at the intermediate to deep levels. He needs quicker adjustments, especially when it comes to better tempo variation for sure. He does not sell the route all the time. And again, I don't know. And again, this is what we keep bringing up the word capable. Well, in this case, a lot of the times on tape, I don't think he's willing to sell the route. I don't think he's willing to sell the route because I think that I've seen that a lot on the tape, where if it's not going in his direction, he just doesn't sell the route. And there are a lot of different occasions where Joe Fagano's taking off, or where corners would easily bail off of Skylar Bell because they just knew look what he's doing on the field. So, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, he catches the ball a lot. I don't know if you noticed this too. He catches the ball a lot with his body. He's a body catcher. So, again, he can definitely, especially over the middle of the field in those contested catch situations, you'll see that a lot. He doesn't have the best catch radius, 50-50 balls and, that stuff like that. It's not really the best. Again, he's really good yard for the catch in terms of elusiveness and ability, but he's not strong, right? Casey is much stronger. Omar Cooper is much stronger when it comes to yards after contact, play strength. He doesn't have great play strength as well. So, listen, Skylar Bell is a tremendous athlete. Tremendous athlete. The RAS score showed you it. I think in terms of what he can do for you, he's kind of in the same realm as and people hate when I'm about to say this, he's in the same realm as a Curtis Samuel. in terms of and Curtis Samuel was a dog with Carolina. Like when he was fully healthy, he was a dog. And Curtis Samuel had those same exact issues as well. But listen, I mean, Skylar Bell is, again, I'm not going to say that he's completely jack of all trades. There's a lot of things that, that he does not do well. And he's going to have to figure out a way how to clean those mistakes up. But, in terms of yak ability, short intermediate ability, when that's consistent, he is solid. And, again, zone, he's in my opinion, I think he's better in man situations than zone. I don't think he has great spatial awareness as well, which again, that does make sense why they didn't utilize him in zone situations, because we talked about this before with the gadget plays, the hitch routes, right? He had that high percentage in hitch routes and screens, right next to Zachariah Branch. He's number 2. So that makes a lot more sense that they didn't read that. Again, he's capable of being a 3-level player, but they didn't utilize him like that because who knows? Maybe because maybe he knows how to do it. Maybe that's just UConn's system. But based off what we're seeing, a lack of effort, not selling, not stemming in the right particular situations, hand fighting, play strength, those questions are going to get brought up, and those criticisms should be happening with Skylar.
I look at this play here, and if I back it up just a hair to the start of the play, all right, yeah. So, all right. So I just want to back this up a little bit. I hope it doesn't act up. If it does, but all right. So here we go. We got 3rd and 12 on the 22. They're trying to clearly get into the end zone here, or at least get something to the 10. So he's lined up. Where's he at? All right, so he's on the short side of the field, 1-on-1, man pressed up, and they've got 2 safeties high. It's like the obviously the slots off the line as well. But they're not trying to give up, anything down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll let you catch it underneath in the middle of the field, and they're just going to come back. So his job here is to his route is to get inside leverage, get upfield, and then pull the safety, to the corner route, because he's running kind of a corner, but he sells it terribly. And I know this is nitpicking. I know this is, but I mean, this is what happens in these situations.
You got to nitpick, man. This is what happens when we don't have any draft capital. This is what happens. This is what happens when we don't have any draft capital.
So I'm watching as this play develops, right? He gets the inside leverage, which is good. Doesn't do a great job of selling the outside release. But he does get inside leverage, which is good, and he's going upfield. But I look at, like, once you see the short side safety bail from his deep assignment and come up to take away underneath route, I think you should fill that area with yourself to give your quarterback an opportunity to hit you in the end zone, and he doesn't. So I'll let it play out, and so you can see what I'm talking about. So all right, that was lazy. Here, like, as soon as the safety comes up, it's like, turn that into a post, dog, or turn it into a D dig. Like, give me something else, because the quarterback's looking for somewhere to go to the football, and he's got to throw it in nearly double, like, he nearly throws an interception because you just don't break off, and that just, I mean, that bothered. Um, yeah, he does a good job blocking here. I don't know, man. I mean, he's cool. He's cool. Like, if they draft him, I'm gonna support it, but not the. Yeah, dog. That's where I'm at too, brother. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at too, man. I can't front. Like I'm just like, let's just trade back. Let's just trade back.
Well, I'll
All
tell
right.
you what. I tell you what, if he does get drafted to Buffalo, I think this is how they're going to utilize him. And it's, again, they're going to hate it because they're going to say because I can tell what they're going to call Joe Brady. They're going to call him Pick Man.
Green merchant.
Yep, this is what Scream Bell is going to do, man. Scream, again, pick routes, rub routes. You're going to utilize them a lot in motion, bunch formations. You're going to increase usage in the slot. You can't attack him down the field. You can definitely attack him down the field, but he's got to get a free release because I'm not confident in him against press. I'm not confident that much in press coverage, mainly in the slot if he goes against bigger guys, which that's what the league's more headed towards. So, again, it's what can we do to get Khalil Shakir to not play the slot position, right? Can we get a receiver? Can we get a receiver out here that is elite in that particular sense? And this is the problem. This is why I don't want the vertical field stretching receiver on the outside because they all have trouble on the outside. What we talked about before. They all have trouble against press. Every single one of them, including the elite ones. All of them do. So if we want them to play primarily as an outside or as a wide field side receiver, and we want them to go out and be vertical, then we need to rely upon these guys to get free releases. Because I'm not saying that they're terrible. But it's one of those situations where the athletic traits don't match sometimes with the skill set that's being displayed on tape. It just doesn't. So I know a lot of people would ask, why don't I put Chris Brazell in here? And listen, Chris Brazell is a smooth route running receiver, very underrated in the intermediate point. I got questions about his strength. His physicality is why I don't put him on this list. He's not strong. He's just not. So like that, it's. There's a reason why, again, this is the con of Tennessee. Even though I think he's the most talented out of the Tennessee receivers, the Jalen Hyatts, the Deontay Thorntons, he's the slimmest out of all of them. He doesn't have a huge frame. There's a reason why they continue to play more off coverage against Tennessee players when they run that veer and shoot split wide system more than any other freaking team in the country. And when they did press on his grill, and I'll use Dalen Everett here, when Dalen Everett pressed up on his grill, and especially when he had the ability to trail his ass, couldn't stick with him. So that's the problem. That's the problem with this receiving class. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like this receiving class. I hate it. I hate this receiving class. There's not one. I mean, there's a few receivers out there that I'm like, there's a few receivers. There's a few receivers that I'm like, okay, I will take an Antonio Williams. I'll take a Cyrus Allen. I'll take a Lewis Bond. A lot of these receivers, these vertical deep threat speed demons, nope. Because where are they going to play at? Yeah. How is their skill set?
Brennan Thompson's probably Brennan. So I don't like this receiving class either. I like the potential of Chris Bell because I think he's probably the most physical out of receivers coming out. Like just. Big, strong kid, runs a 4.4. Even coming off the ACL, I think he's going to be tough.
I got to teach him.
Not the greatest route runner.
Yep,
not the greatest route runner. But he's a guy that you pick and you expect to see that catastrophic jump in year 3. I don't want year 3. I want year 1. So, Concepcion. I think Jordan Tyson's year 1. I think if Jordan Tyson was just if he's healthy and he gets to 20, if he gets to 26 or close to it, I'm all for going to get him because I think he's the best receiver in this class. I think he's the absolute best. I think he's the best. I think it's him, and then I think it's him, and then a couple steps down is your Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemons, those guys. I think Jordan Tyson's the best. But that's a pipe dream. I don't think Tyson gets past I don't think Tyson gets past Jacksonville. I don't think Tyson gets. Jacksonville doesn't have a pick. I don't think Tyson gets past the Browns. I don't think Tyson gets past the Steelers. Uh, to us, I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. So I don't think he gets past the Patriots. You know, and I feel like the Patriots are going to move up to go and get a receiver. I really do think they're going to move up because they have a pretty solid team. They need a true X and some help on that offensive line. That's it. They've got everything else, but that's just where I'm at. All right, so the KC, we're gonna pull up Casey Concepcion's film real quick. What do you want to watch? You want to watch him versus LSU, Notre Dame, South Carolina, or Texas?
The Notre Dame one, because I think the Notre Dame one that displayed his strength and that definitely displayed his weaknesses.
Screen.
Because when they matched him on the outside, he won some battles, but he lost a lot more battles against 15.
I'm in trips now. I don't know, bro. I like him a lot, man. I do like him a lot, but smart, yeah. Trying to make himself available for his quarterback.
He'll play hard. He'll play through the play. He's not lazy. And unfortunately, like Marcel Reed when it comes to timing and anticipation, rhythm-based throwing, that's just not his strength. Like Casey would have way more production if he would have had a quarterback that can kind of have continuity with. He just didn't have the quarterback.
That's a terrible throw, but he won immediately.
Yep.
He won immediately. That's a terrible throw, though. And those are the things that Casey's going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
He can get vertical. The throws behind him, he took a big hit and he dropped it. You have to make that catch, though. Like at the next level, and you know why you have to make that catch? Because if you're going to be an X receiver, which is what the Bills need, or what the Bills want.
That was a terrible throw.
Who are your X receivers? Diggs? Diggs is making that catch. You've seen Diggs get absolutely annihilated sometimes. Not drop the football. Same thing with the other, and I know. Tyreek Hill, same thing. I get it. Those guys are every throw sucks. Every throw from this kid.
Yeah, that's Marcel Reed, man. That's Marcel Reed, unfortunately.
Yeah. But
I'm more of a fan of 3 than I am of KC, but that's just me.
You said who?
I'm more of a fan of 3, Craver.
Okay. Jesus Christ, man. He ain't had a good throw yet. Already a couple minutes into the game, man. You got Casey 1-on-1 on the outside.
Yes, I think that's against Moore. No, Moore's, he's on Craver.
I mean, we're gonna watch a little bit of this, but I want to get into the Antonio Williams, bro. Like I just think he's the one for me, man. He's the one for me this year. I think he's gonna be the one. He goes to the right spot. I think he's the next.
You gotta tell it to WGR, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Williams is getting to the third. You think he gets to the third? I don't know. I don't know about the third ring. Oh. Oh. What was that?
Oh, I just came back. That was a touchdown. I think that was the one that. I think that was that Craver? Yeah, it's Craver. Utilize the motion. Yep. Utilize the motion. Just use them on the wheel route, and he just
Terrible
yards after
tackle by Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible tackle by Notre Dame. Well, whatever. All right. So let's get into my God. Listen, man. I know that I do this every year where I have one guy that I'm just like, hey, this is the one, man. This is the one.
You ain't gonna hear no backtrack from me.
I just think his release. I just think his release off of press is clean, man, and it's and he doesn't give you the same release every time.
Yep.
Not a ton of hand fighting. That he doesn't need to do a lot of hand fighting. Just smooth.
Look what he does. Sells it.
Yep.
Sells it to the outside. Cuts that back in. See, and this is what we need. This is what I'm impressed with. I don't care about the 20 or 25 or 30, 35-yard guys. I need guys with this zone spatial awareness. Timing, anticipate. Like, is he great when he is right? Does he have that continuity on rhythm throws, timing and rhythm throws? Does he understand how to be in the best possible situations?
Nick's off. He's off.
I like every single one of the receivers on this team. Every single one of them are I think they're snappy.
No, the fact that Clemson was terrible.
Yeah,
it's
no sense.
Come on, bro. Wow, like it can't just be the quarterback. Like the quarterback couldn't have been that bad. Well, he was. He was. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to see the route. I'm trying to wait for him. I wrote down what I wanted to watch. Time. He's gonna go right to it, man. Instead of wasting everybody's time. That's it. No. It is. This is what I'm talking about. Price 1-on-1. Boom. Gets inside. Gets upfield. That's a
Beautiful.
reception, folks.
Beautiful.
That is a reception, folks. Yeah. Like that's lit. That's lit. And that's on Everett. That's a reception. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. They're not playing it. These are not scrubs. This is Georgia.
There's a play against Duke against Chandler Rivers, and Chandler Rivers ain't a scrub. Chandler Rivers might be one of the better slot corners, but he beats him on a deep out on it was press coverage. Great recovery by Chandler, but just again how he just sells the route in order for him to get to the outside on the deep out was just insane. And that's just what we need. That's what we need. This is what we need.
free release, gets upfield, makes the like, bro.
Yeah, you don't want to give him a free release. You don't want to give him a free release.
Yeah. And this is zone coverage. No, it's not his match. But I mean, like he's so good, man. I like look at come on, guys. Like, I get it's a run play, but he does not always have to like he's selling it. He's selling inside, he's selling outside, he's going the other way. He is keeping his he's keeping his matchup he's keeping his matchup mixed up. You can move him into the slot.
Another thing, I like his subtle fakes, man. I mean, you'll see him a lot with the head and shoulder nods. You'll see him with the jab steps, the stutter steps, the stutter steps. You'll see him win based off of those particular situations. The body positioning, the lean to kind of influence that defender's hip and momentum during the middle of the route. It is crisp. It's crisp. It's not lazy. It's not mechanically flawed. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect almost every time.
Yeah, he's a dog, bro.
He's a master when it comes to tempo manipulation. He's a master. This is what we need. Guys that are masters at tempo variations.
That's what you need on third down. That's what you need on third down. That's a guy that's going to win his matchup and get you and move the sticks. That's what he's going to do, and you can put him anywhere. Not a terrible blocker either. Better than Skylar Bell.
Yeah.
I think this kid.
He can stack too. I think that's another thing that people won't give him credit for. Well, I've heard Joe DiBiase talk about he can't stack. I think that's bullshit. I think that's absolute complete bullshit. He can definitely stack off of man coverage. He work across the defender's face, strings. I mean, for the most part, you see on the tape the double moves that he can put together.
Yep.
He's a good player, man. I mean, this is what we need. I mean, I don't want athletes. I mean, again, he is athletic because he runs a 4.4, but listen, I understand we want the vertical deep threat. This is not what's going to make Josh better, people. It's just not. It's not.
Route runner, man. Route runner.
This is it.
Football, a guy that is consistently going to get open and catch the football. That is Antonio Williams. Bro. Bro, this. All right, that's it. That's enough. That's enough. What we were just talking about. Can you run the out? Look at this. After the catch, shifty. Just, I like the kid. I like the kid a lot. Not gonna continue to fawn over this young man. He's a very good player, though. Yeah, very, very good player. The release, the craftiness, the craftiness as a route runner, the ability to catch a football with his hands, the ability to sell the fake and create separation. Like he is creating separation through route running, which is what we don't have, and he can do it on the boundary consistently. So, I have him as my number 2 fit for the Bills at wide receiver, behind obviously Jordan Tyson. I think Tyson's dog. I think Tyson's amazing. But yeah, that's where I'm at, brother. All right, so you want to talk about any other receivers?
I would say, I'm a big fan of Brandon Thompson. I think he's the best vertical receiver I think I've seen in this draft class. I think in terms of and again, I think the perfect game, if you really want to watch what he can do, watch him against Missouri. I think Missouri is a perfect example. The Georgia game was a pretty good game. but his ability to again a lot of similar reasons of why we like Antonio Williams. Brennan Thompson does it. He just does it at the deep part of the football field. He's one of the best deep vertical route runners I've seen. Can stem.
I don't have the Missouri film. I have the film against Texas A&M.
Up? Yeah, pull it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brennan Thompson. And I like him too a lot. Like you can see him get down the field in a hurry.
And I'm glad you kind of got this too, because this is the reason why I don't like Cassius Howell. There's reasons, there's reason this game where I don't want to take Cassius at 26.
Because that inability to stop the run.
The inability to stop the run.
5 more yards. Look how much faith they give him. 10 yards, bro. 10 yards.
Man, you got to. He led the I think he was second or first in hitch routes. And a lot of those hitch routes were just option because they kept playing so far off of him. You cannot play him up close tight. Look, you give him 12 yards of space.
He's still beating the defense.
Yeah.
He's still beating the defense downfield.
Yep. Quarterback, yep.
Offensive line just didn't give him enough time, but he had it. That's why you need an anticipatory thrower. 10 full yard. 10 full yard. 10 full yards of cushion. Every single time this kid lined up, getting 10 yards of cushion. That was smooth. That was smooth. Sells the vert.
Yep.
Sells the vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Gets to the sideline. Both feet down. Smooth. Smooth. Put it with his hands too. Oh my God. Somebody.
And again, he's selling. He sold the route, but my God, if that actually was a play, he's winning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 1-on-1 to me and you're pressed up like that. One of these where he gets I didn't peruse through his film today. Get the time and dates. I mean the time stamps on when I wanted to pull up. Could have did that.
Oh, I thought I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that one play. I do want to watch his blocking, but he is not the best. He's a willing blocker, but he is a violent willing blocker. Yeah. He's a violent willing blocker. He actually you saw a lot on that particular play. They use him a lot. They use him a lot as a blocker on screen plays.
You can see it though. You can see it on the vertical route. The corner's cooked. That's it. And he stretches on. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown in Buffalo. That's a touchdown. Josh is letting that thing fly off the sideline. And as long as it's accurate, that's a touchdown. Cash was coming in, you know. that line. Thanks.
I forgot which play they're going to show up, but I think, I don't know if they're going to show on this one, but my opinion, he's got the best stop and go. He's got the best stop and go route in the entire class. The footwork is insane. In terms of hip twitch, not a problem. He can drop it within. He can drop it, and that's important. Right, hip twitch is extremely important for deceleration. And the one thing that made Tyreek Hill so special as a player is not just he's fast. Obviously, he's extremely fast, but it was his ability to sink his hips whenever he wanted to with an extremely quick pace to a point where he can just simply decelerate. Simply just decelerate. He can decelerate in and out of his breaks within a hurry. That's why nobody couldn't mess with him. He's an elite quick twitch player combined with the already track speed that he has. Brandon Thompson's got that. That's why I like the kid so much. He can explode off the breaks. In terms of the fakes, a lot of the stutter and goes, the out and ups, kind of the other double moves that you kind of see for him. Just watch his shoulders. His shoulders are always squared. His shoulders, me and Anthony talked about. His shoulders are always squared, so it's hard to predict when he's going to sell a route. It's hard to figure out which way he's going to go because again, most receivers, like most corners, are watching. They're watching the receiver's shoulder to see exactly, okay, is it, even if he's going to try to sell it, am I going to buy into it, or is it, or is it just going to be complete BS? It's hard to predict what he does, man. It's very hard. It's very hard to predict what he does when a receiver has almost perfect technique with the shoulders. So that, you'll see it. You'll see it a lot when in a lot of these shoulder fakes.
Quarterback's running for his life, man, but the kid is getting open.
Yep.
You see it. Quarterback's running for his life. Can't really get a good, If y'all want to, oh my,
He just doesn't have a chance. He's cooking this corner though. He just doesn't have a chance. And even if it's a design run play, again, we just talked about the Skylar Bell. Skylar Bell's not running that hard to sell that route.
Right. And one thing you want is consistency out of your receivers. You don't want to give up. You don't want to give away. You don't want to give away what you're doing. So, but yeah, Brennan Thompson is another guy, man. Lewis Bond, I like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a slot though. So unless they're planning on moving Shakir out wide more, Bond probably won't play a lot. He's got some special teams ability, some return ability, but he's tiny. He's like 5'7", 5'7", 5'8", 5'6", somewhere around there. And but listen, he's still good. I think he's a good player. All right, so that's gonna be the show on receivers today. Next week we will discuss linebackers and safeties. I don't know. Do you want to talk safeties, brother, or?
Oh, I can do safeties. If we want to, if you want to, I can talk safeties all day. That's my favorite part of the class is safeties.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just, you still think we're taking the safety?
It's possible. I don't think it's Eric McNeil-Warren because I think the Eric McNeil-Warren of this team is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. If Dylan's there though, yes. I think you run up to the podium, you grab Dylan if he's there. But the problem is, I think he's going to Minnesota. So that's the only shot. Otherwise, if we take a safety, it's probably going to be day 3. I think the second round. I think linebacker is a way more important position. Defensive tackle, or maybe even some depth at edge is more important. So safety, probably day 3 is when you'll see it kind of happen. There's a lot of depth at safety that I think that I can see them definitely taking.
All right, so if you can come back next week, man, we'll We'll talk safeties. We'll talk. I think linebackers is going to be a short conversation because I don't like a lot of them. I don't. I mean, I don't know how you feel about them.
No, Sam, I don't like these linebackers either. I mean, there's a few that I like. The Bills obviously are in love with one from what we've been hearing, but it's just one of those situations, man, where it's just not, especially with our defensive scheme fit. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think we end up trading back.
Yeah.
I think we end up trading out of the first round, and I think we trade out of the first round. This is my dream scenario. Trade out of the first, you get your second back, and you get a fourth or a fifth, right? You use a fourth and a fifth, use a fourth and a fifth, and move back into the third round. I'm taking Trotter. I'm taking Antonio Williams, and I'm probably trying to target safety or defensive tackle there.
Yeah.
Whether that's, Corleone, Orange, or I'm a big fan of Cape Art, but I think
Cape. Yeah,
would be really rich for Cape.
I can see it. He's not a two-gap player, but you know what? Who cares, man? You need run defenders. That's what we need. You need run defenders. You need guys who can stack. You need guys with athletic ability and versatility anyway. So I listen. I don't think they're going to prioritize the nose position like a lot of fans think we're going to do. I just don't think it. I think they're going to prioritize getting a run defender, just not the run defender they want.
Right. I agree with that because I think that the plan is to play Dion and Ed a lot, right? So wherever you get, you're talking about 20% of the snaps, 25% of the snaps, probably on first down. First down, short yardage situation, maybe second down, third, short yardage situations mostly. Maybe he'll play first and second or first or second, but it's going to be a lot more Deion Walker. It's going to be a lot more of that. And I still think we end up playing more even front than people think. I just think Bradley Chubb ends up being a stand-up, edge. That's what I think. I think it's going to look. I think it's going to look like what we've been running, which is the 4-2-5, but it's going to end up being a 3-3-5.
Yep.
3 safeties or, your traditional nickel.
Yep.
2 boundaries and safeties.
We're just running a lot more. We're just running a lot more exotic coverage, way more match than we've ever kind of run before. And our stunt variations are. We're probably going to be a top 5 team in the league in stunt variations. That's the difference. We're going to be more aggressive, and our coverage is going to be more exotic. Besides that, though, I mean, size, athletic ability is not going to be that much. It's not going to be that much different. Besides just getting players who are versatile, which we're already doing anyway with McDermott.
Last question before we get out of here. Cauchy has us. Is it Cauchy? I think it was Cauchy. I think it was Cauchy or something else. One of the other ones. Polymark. It might have been Polymark. Has the Bills as the favorites to win the AFC 16%. What do you think about that?
I don't know how this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how this AFC is gonna look like. I don't know. I cannot sit up here and say that the Bills are gonna definitively win this conference. I just can't do it. I mean, we talked about this before. I said this for about a year. I felt like if Sean McDermott was going to be the coach here for 2026 with the defensive scheme and keeping around some of those players, and seeing what he did with Michael Hoyt, I knew that we were going exotic with the defense, which we're doing now. So that's the good thing. We're still keeping that more exotic, aggressive approach, which we were doing with McDermott until Hoyt got hurt. Then we ran with the classic traditional 4-3. I felt like with McDermott and the staff already in place, we were a year away for winning a champ for going to the Super Bowl and winning it. I don't know if we're going to do this now. I think we're making, again, not too huge of transitions, but we are making certain transitions. We've already gotten rid of a lot of players that were already sort of impactful guys. They were older, but they were more impactful guys, and clearly we're getting a lot younger. I would feel way more comfortable if we had a lot of draft capital. If we had last year's draft capital, I would feel confident because I think that's enough to get the guys. Knowing that we didn't really have a lot of money and knowing that we have essentially 6 picks, which I think they're going to trade back to try to get some draft capital. But the question is how important is the capital that you're going to regain back? Because if you're going to get a 5th back, that could turn into something. But it's 60 picks before you get to the 3rd to 91 that's crazy. That's a huge drop off. And so I like DJ Moore. That's an upgrade. I think they're going to continue to add for Josh, and I think that could help, but I don't know. Like it's one of those, I got to see it. I got to see at least the first 2-3 games. I need to see how this defense, how this defense is going to operate. I need to see how this offense continues to kind of respond, which I think they'll do well. But ultimately at the end of the day, I don't think the AFC, I don't think the Ravens are going to emerge as a championship favorite. But I don't know. It's one of those cases where I think the Chargers are going to be a lot more dangerous. I think it's open. This conference is open, man. Like, it's obviously we want to, as Bills fans, we want to give it to Josh because he's Josh and he's the MVP. But it's too many situations where it's like this team they have not. It just hasn't given me the confidence that they're going to take the mantle yet. I gotta see. I need to see it. I need to see some sort of proof in order for us to do it. So I mean, obviously, it starts with the draft. That's going to help sway me, depending on how this draft goes. But yeah, I can't definitively say it's going to be theirs this year. I can't.
So this is where I'm at. I am nervous about the defense, mainly because I think the transition at linebacker is too much.
Yeah.
And I think linebackers played a very, very pivotal role on this team because this team was not getting to the quarterback. But because of the coverage of the back 7, I think it minimized the damage that could have been done by other teams. Now, obviously, Taron Johnson to me has been underwhelming for the last 2 seasons. So I think that's kind of where we've experienced some cracks in the armor, as well as instability at cornerback too. Those are some areas, and then safety play. I think we took too long to replace our safety. So we've had some chinks in the armor, but I think for the most part, the secondary's pretty solid now. I don't know if we're getting Dorian Strong back. I know we're going to add to that room. Probably going to get Trey White back, within the next few weeks or after the draft. I do think he is coming back, though. And the defensive line, like, I love the Bradley Chubb because he's a bona fide. He can get to the quarterback. And I know, like, I talked to some guys that were Miami fans. They were talking about how Bradley Chubb got a ton of pressures. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was Jalen Phillips. They called him pressure man. But Bradley Chubb has been very productive. So I do think that's going to help overall his defense. I do think that he can be a double-digit sack guy here in Buffalo because of the rest of the line. And I think you're going to see a better Deion Walker, much better Ed Oliver, because as long as they're healthy, that's the thing. Health is going to be huge for this team, but the reserves are getting better. I look around the rest of the AFC, right? I don't think the Ravens have gotten better. Pittsburgh is good. They're not better than us, right? The Bengals worry me. Not gonna lie. Adding Brian Cook as safety is a really good move for them. I like their linebackers from last year. They were both rookies. I think they'll be better this year. Al Gold is going in the year 2. Um, and I love the boy Mafe. That was a good move to me. And the offense, they put up points. Like that, you know what it is. They put up points. Corners are good. Like their corner group is good, and I think they'll add to it. Dax Hill will be in the slot, bigger guy, but physical and can play there. Um, they'll add to that one. So I think since he's going to be a problem, I think the Patriots are going to be a problem still. Um, I think they'll come down to earth a little bit. I do think that no Diggs is going to hurt. I know that they added Romeo Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs is a good player. I think Romeo Dobbs is completely controllable by Christian Benford. Not worried about that. Um, and they've had issues on the line, so I think we'll be able to get to him, get to to Drake May, and we should do a better job of stopping the run with more guys in the box now with the scheme switch. So I think we're fine in the AFC East. I think we're fine. I think we're the best team between the East and the North. The South, the Texans and the Jags, bro. Those teams. I know the Jags lost a lot. They lost Devin Lloyd. I think that's a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
But
that D line is
still a really good team. Exactly. And I thought that their secondary played better than advertised. And I think now you'll see Travis Hunter Hunter focus more on corner versus playing both ways. I think you'll still see him play both ways, but he'll play more. I think he'll play more corner, which is only going to help them. I think they're tough. The Texans, at some point, CJ Stroud's probably going to figure it out. Tank Dell coming back. If he's healthy, CJ Stroud's a much better quarterback. Then they added didn't they add a running back? Somebody.
It was the Texans.
Yeah.
They did it. They added a running back.
I just can't remember who it is.
They did add a running back.
It's an upgrade. Yeah, it's an upgrade. Whoever it is. The West, I still don't fear Denver. I still don't fear Denver.
Montgomery.
I don't care that Montgomery. Okay, yeah. That's a good move for them. David Montgomery, that's good. I still don't fear Denver. I don't. And I don't know why, because I probably should respect them more. I just don't. And maybe it's because Bo Nix is the quarterback, and even though we lost to them, and Bo Nix looked really good late in that game, I think he's. I don't think he's that good. I think it's a good system. I think that's a heck of an offensive head coach, and I think the defense looks good on paper, and I think the defense was completely gettable if we didn't turn the football over 4 times in regulation. The Chargers do worry me. So out of the entire AFC, the Chargers, the Texans, and the Jags worry me. No one else does. Like I think the Chiefs lost. They lost their entire secondary. They still got to figure out the offensive line. They still don't have a pass rush outside of Chris Jones. Chenal's not there either, so you're running with 2 linebackers. I don't know. I mean, Kelsey's a year older. I don't really fear the Chiefs. I don't fear the Ravens. Bengals could be an issue, depending on how that defense responds. And really, it's like Chargers, Jags, and Texans, man. That's really it. We'll get to play the West though, so I agree with the Bills being a favorite. The defense wasn't good last year. I don't think the defense is going to be worse this year. I think we're faster. I think we're more athletic. I think we're younger. And I think this is a tougher unit with the addition of CJ Gardner Johnson, and I know that they'll add other players. I think Larry Ogunjobi not being here and Joey Bosa not being here are additions by subtraction, to be honest. Um, just the linebacker thing, bro. Like if they sign Shaq Thompson or Matt Milano tomorrow, I'd feel a heck of a lot better about this defense. A lot better. But that's where I'm at. So you got anything you want to plug, brother, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Follow me on X, Jant716. Especially if you want to, again, for the most part, if you want to check me out like on Spaces, or if you want to just have some, conversations, depending on what you hear from me. Trust me, I can take the criticism. I can handle it. I've gotten a lot of stuff from Bills fans. It is what it is on that particular front. So no, but that's it, man. Another great show.
Yeah, man. Thank you as always, man. I appreciate you coming back. See you again next week. For everybody that listened, tuned in, thank you so much. Appreciate you for spending time. You could have been asleep or getting your stuff ready for tomorrow, whatever it is. You could have been doing anything else but hanging out here with us. Appreciate it. We love talking football. We appreciate the support and the love. Bills.